hearing, which is rare when we alert all of the residents of the city on a specific discussion item. This is, the hearing was asked for by the safety committee, and city council agreed for this public hearing. And we wanted residents to really weigh in on this fireworks ordinance. Ordinance 25-06, amending chapter 1615 of the city fire code related to fireworks, is something that the mayor introduced. It allows fireworks to be shot off at John Carroll University, which is the only large enough area in the city for that to happen. Because this is a public hearing, we will accept comments. If you could please limit them to 5 minutes, and if you could state your name and address. I will allow some Zoom comments as well, since there are some people on Zoom. And I know that other council members have received resident feedback as well. So if there is any audience comments, if you could raise your hand, and great, thank you. If you could come here, and this microphone is working. I'm sorry, our other one wasn't charged.
Yes, we even get to sit. Wonderful. We aim to please.
Thank you so much. If you could just state your name. and
My name is
address.
Ann Griffith. I live on Charney Road. I was a licensed pyrotechnician for the state of Ohio for 8 years. The first woman, or one of the first women's licensed in the state. And I shot shows all over the area. My primary was Shaker Heights, Cleveland Heights, those areas and such. My concern about this is, you're right, the wall does not have enough room for it at all. There needs to be 100 feet clearance radius per inch of shell shot. And so John Carroll might be the only place that it could be done. The issues would be they're going to have to dig up fields to put the racks on the ground. You've got crowd issues. Insurance is very expensive for this kind of thing. The shells come from China. And so you've got all kinds of issues with that as well. And the reason a lot of the cities are no longer doing this is because teens came and started fights, and it became just impossible to handle all of it. So now you're only talking about licensed companies being able to do this, not private citizens being able, okay, good, because we don't need the noise. So I don't think it's a really good idea personally. You know, I mean, John Carroll's a private institution, and so they would have to decide if it's something that they want to deal with the crowds and everything else that goes along with it. You know, I shot the Shaker Heights show on July 4th for 8 years, and then broke off and went to the Shaker Heights Country Club. I did shows at Cleveland Heights, Independence, Mentor, Solon, I mean, all over the area. So I'm well versed in the amount of room it takes and the amount of clearance you need to have to keep people safe. Because those shells lift 70 feet per inch of shell into the air, they can go 100 feet per inch of shell if something comes over and they go on the ground. So something to think about in terms of where houses are, where you can have people watching, parking, all kinds of other things. So I can say it's not something I'm really in favor of in a small community like this. Thank you for your
I
time.
really appreciate your expertise. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for sharing your expertise. Chief, how does the permitting, if this were to pass, how is the permitting process handled? Please, if you would. Since some concerns were brought up that I think are pretty valid to hear.
Sure. I intended to request to read a statement to begin the meeting. That statement would answer some of your question, I think. So I can answer it direct now, or I could read the statement and you can ask me again.
Why don't you answer the question and then you can read the statement at some point.
Okay. So somebody seeking to shoot fireworks that are not consumer grade, professional grade fireworks, they have to find a licensed exhibitor, and that exhibitor needs to apply for a permit with the state fire marshal's office. That permit gets processed. Our Fire Prevention Bureau works with that applicant through that process. It gets signed off by the authority having jurisdiction, which is the fire department and the police department, and gets sent back to the state, and the state does the final approval.
Okay, the fire marshal's office, the first one you were saying is the state fire marshal?
Correct,
Then it would come to our department.
correct.
Who in our department does the review?
Our fire prevention officer.
The fire prevention officer. And then depending upon that decision, if it was approved at this level, then it goes back to the state.
Correct,
And the state still has the authority to either reject or approve it.
correct.
Okay. Thank you. That I think was critical.
And then to add to that, once the fireworks arrive on site the day of the exhibit, fire department is there to inspect the product, the setup, from the time it arrives through the event and after the event. And we're permitted to cancel that exhibit or that show at any time throughout that process before or during, if anything is not up to the permit or the code.
Thank you, Chief. Did you want to read a statement before we continue with public comment?
Sure. Yeah, I was just gonna provide some history and context. You covered some of it, Vice Mayor. 2022 House Bill 172 was passed, allowing consumer grade fireworks on certain holidays of the year to be permitted for discharge in Ohio. House Bill 172 allowed cities to opt out. City of University Heights exercised its opt-out provision. City Council passed the legislation that the Vice Mayor spoke of, prohibiting the discharge of consumer grade fireworks in the city at all times. There was a zoning ordinance related to fireworks recently passed in our city. This companion zoning ordinance was enacted to prohibit the manufacturer, this distribution, storage, and retail sale of all fireworks in the city at all times. And then our pending ordinance is talking about regulation of public professional fireworks exhibit displays that would be permitted through the state like we just talked about. Just a comment about the public fireworks displays. There's different sizes of fireworks regulated. You may read about or hear about 1.4G, which is consumer grade, 1.3G, and various types. Due to the size and density of University Heights, we do not have an area that could allow for the large 1.3G typical fireworks you would see at a large municipal show. The only area that we have in the city that I'm aware of that we would be able to do any type of show would be at John Carroll University to meet the fallout zones that were previously mentioned here today. And we require a bare minimum of 150 feet in all directions. And John Carroll is the only place that has that in one specific location that allows for just a little bit of wiggle room for weather and wind direction that we and the state will be comfortable with. But that is only for a consumer grade product. So the only exhibit that has been done there and would be continued to be permitted there if allowed by the city would be a consumer based product show done by a professional licensed exhibitor permitted by the state. So there would not be your typical large diameter shells. Typically, they refer to something called cakes. Cakes are more of an aerial shell on a smaller scale. And to my knowledge, and I'm not a fireworks expert, that would be the largest type of display that we could permit anywhere in the city if we chose to.
Thank you, Chief. Is there any other audience members that would like to say something? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Rory O'Neill. I run the Office of Alumni Relations at John Carroll University. Been running the office for about 2 years now. We're here in support of the ordinance, obviously, and the amendment. Before I talk about the permit we've submitted already for review, want to just lead with, as we like to say at John Carroll, with gratitude and also with an apology. Gratitude because there's a lot of great things happening at John Carroll right now. Our enrollment's up, our fundraising numbers are up. We've got great projects happening on campus that are going to be the future of our university. And no great thing happens on John Carroll's campus without a lot of collaborators. That includes city council, but also everyone in the University Heights, Ohio. So thank you to everyone for that. Also, just an apology. I've been in this job 2 years now. Last year, our reunion weekend was the first big event we had done, and the communication our team did about the fireworks display was not up to where it should be, and that is an apology that this group deserves, but also something we plan on improving and rectifying for this year. So the permit we've submitted for our reunion weekend, which is the weekend of June 6th, 7th upcoming, it is a firework permit for everything the chief said that is allowable and doable and approved. It's a 5 to 7 minute display. This is the same kind of display we've done in 2021, 22, 23, 24, all successful events we've done in the past and been approved for. The organization that we use is Pyrotechnico. They are a safe, professional, licensed, and well-supported organization. They've done firework displays with the Guardians, the Lake County Captains, Akron River Ducks, other municipalities, not just ball clubs, and other organizations in the Cleveland area, Case Western, Oberlin, Hiram, organizations of higher education. There's been no issues in the things we've done in the past, but just we're willing to do any communication that needs to be done this time to make sure that the necessary steps are followed, the community is engaged and aware and can prepare for this event and be aware of it. But I would say most importantly, we want them to be able to enjoy it too. It shouldn't be something that's just for all of our alumni coming back to celebrate their reunion. We want community members, if they feel compelled and want to come on campus and enjoy it too. And that is a communication we're eager to do. And we want to make sure they feel welcome, but also we want to be good neighbors in the process too. So I'll just add at the end here, just, this is one of our biggest events of the year for alumni. It's also one of our longest standing events too. And, we're in favor of an ordinance that allows short, controlled displays with ample warning, a strict and fair permitting process that, invites little disruption, but probably most importantly, it upholds compassion for the entire community, right, which we're a part of. So we hope it's a wonderful weekend. I hope this is one of the best parts of it for all of our, hopefully 700 alumni and guests who come to campus. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill.
I'd like to thank you for apologizing, considering the number of calls that I had when it went off, because it went off and it was currently illegal in the city of University Heights to set it off. I know that somebody issued a permit, but the permit couldn't be issued by the city according to the city ordinances. So unless this should pass, it's not going to happen. But I appreciate you apologizing for it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment? Yes, if you could please come to the microphone.
Hi, my name's Olivia Marshall and I live on Fenwick Road. And I just, the fireworks that went off last summer were disturbing. I have a neighbor who is so sensitive to sound that I have to take my wind chimes down every night. So things like that. There are a lot of people that are very sound sensitive. There are people with post-traumatic stress syndrome. There are autistic kids. There are so many people that these noises are very disturbing, not to mention all of our pets. It's a very tight community and it's just not appropriate for it may sound like a great celebration, but it disturbs a lot of people and a lot of animals.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to say something? I do know that on Zoom, we have one hand up. Mr. Collier, did you want to say something? Thank you, Mr. Collier. Is there anyone else on Zoom that would like to say something? Yeah, hi, thank you.
things with we humans is that if we get noticed, you know what's about to happen. If this passes, it would be a tremendous service to residents of University Heights for us to have advance notice because for those who have PTSD, sudden unexpected onset of any noise, such as fireworks, which can resemble gunshots, is tremendously disturbing and frightening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Byer. Yes, we have someone in the audience, Mr. Shapiro.
Good evening. My name is Harry Shapiro. I live at 4492 Groveland Road. I'm a pet owner. Technically, I'm committing a misdemeanor because I have 3 pets, not 2. But I have 2 dogs and a cat, but nobody ever sees the cat. I actually am in favor of the amendment and the fireworks. Number one, fireworks are a tradition that's been in this country for 250 years. Ever since the founding of the country, we've celebrated certain holidays and things with fireworks. They said it's a 7 to 8 minute display. So it's 7 to 8 minutes of noise, 3-4 times a year maximum. And I just feel that with prior notice, as the last Zoom caller said, as long as there's prior notice that there's going to be a fireworks display and we know what time it is, those of us who have pets that may get very nervous or things like that can hold their pets. Those that have issues with PTSD and things like that would know earplugs, headphones, as long as there's a time given, arrangements could be made for those that the noise would affect. But I feel that it is, it's a holiday and it puts people in a celebratory mood and many people look forward to it. And they look forward to a big one, but again, as the chief said, due to space limitations with the area that it can be done in, a smaller one, at least it's something. And I think that many of the residents appreciate it. And again, as long as there is notice for those that have an issue with it, for such a short time display, I don't think that it would be that out of place, that disturbing for very long. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, you can please come up.
Good evening. My name is Maura Jockum, and I am the Chief of Staff at John Carroll. I am not a University Heights resident, but the village that I live in has an ordinance that does allow for fireworks in the community. And some of the stipulations that are built into that ordinance might be something that University Heights wants to consider in order to compromise and to show compassion for those who may be uncomfortable with fireworks, but also to allow them for the community. Some of those things are a required 14-day notice period once a permit is approved. It is it must be 14 days prior to the show that the notification for residents begins, and a permit can be revoked if that notification process is not implemented. The other thing is there's a time restriction, so fireworks can only take place between dusk and in this particular village, it's 11 p.m. But those are things that can obviously be adjusted. And then the other thing would be a duration limit. So again, being sensitive to those who have valid concerns, is it that displays cannot exceed a certain number of minutes? And are those some ways that we can, in University Heights, allow for such displays, but not forget about those who do have valid concerns?
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to say something? Great. And is there anyone else on Zoom? Yeah. Mr. Pearl, did you want to say something?
Jeffrey Pearl, 2579 Lafayette Drive. And just wanted to state that if we have proper notice given and a controlled professional display, that I would be in support of that. The concerns that I have were in regards to the notification, and that's going to be very important. My other concern has nothing to do with this display, but fireworks that are done by residents. And I think that it should be understood that this has nothing to do with that, and that is still something that is controlled differently than the professional.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ms. Weiser, do you have a question?
I don't, thank you, Mr. Pearl. No, I wanted to ask the John Carroll alumni gentleman. I'm sorry, I proceeded to forget your name. Pardon me?
Mr. O'Neill.
Mr. O'Neill. When you were talking about notification, had John Carroll thought out at all how that notification would happen? Just out of, because I can tell you, we discovered some difficulties just in notifying the community about this public hearing, so.
Sure. We do have some early ideas, if we got to that point. Example, our team was talking about, I live in Hudson, Ohio, and we live right across the street from Western Reserve Academy. They do fireworks all the time. It's communicated in two different ways. That comes through the city of Hudson, and there's like a large Facebook group for the city that they get it out that way. So that's one way. If there's a way that this, in tandem with the city, we could email out, if there's an email list or a website, things like that is probably the most easy to do, I guess you could say. If there are other ways you think would be necessary, it'd be something we should probably talk about, but like we have some early ideas for sure, yes. But we also take the view that we want to consider everything that will get the job done, I guess, so.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very
Yeah,
much.
I mean, within reason. I mean, for example, how many citizens live in,
You mean we can't have you go knock on every door?
if,
Wait, no, I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
I got good, strong legs. I'll do my best, but I don't think it'll get the job done. How many citizens are there in University Heights?
12,000. Well, when we count your students, we have 12.
Okay, how, like dwellings, that'd be hard to go door to door, and the cost of distributing a mail, especially you're gonna vote next Thursday. Right, getting it done in time for that,
Yeah.
the mail might be the hardest part. I think the easier thing of the electronic method would probably be the most doable. But like beyond that too, we're absolutely open to discussion, for sure.
Okay, thank you. I think we have.
Thank you. Sure, you have a
Please,
question?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Deborah Newman, 4027 Meadowbrook Boulevard. As I was listening to the options, I do not do social media. I do not, the reason I'm here is think of other options for people who do not tune in that way. I got, and it is expensive, but I did receive a letter and that's why I'm here. So I can't speak for everybody, but I'm an older person who does not communicate that way. So I'm just asking you to be
Yeah, no,
mindful.
I appreciate that because city council and the safety committee took that under consideration and that's why we did mail everything because we realized that a lot of people are not on social media. Yeah, Ms. Weiser?
Since, Mrs. Noonan, since this is primarily going to be focused, if it gets approved on John Carroll, how close are you to John Carroll?
I'm a block away.
You're a block away.
Yeah, I'm west of Warrensville.
Okay,
So
I appreciate that. I think Mr. O'Neill needed to hear that because there are some people in close proximity to the university that if this were to pass with some sort of a notification thing on it, that might require some mailing from the university.
Yeah, we could take a couple more comments.
And Griffith again. Guardsman's Gazette would be another way to get information out. I know it normally comes out once a month, but if for something like this, I'm not talking about the physical copies, but the emailed copies. Those of us who have signed up for it for email, that's another way that notification could go out. Besides just Nextdoor and Facebook and such. The other thing I was going to say is after listening to them talk, if they're just talking about the smaller shells, which are like 2.5 inch, the cake shells, then I don't have an issue with that. I was worried about the big ones that, you know, the 6-inch shells and things like that go a lot farther. So the small ones, that should be safe. But John Carroll.
Yeah, Mr. Shapiro? Thank you. Is there anything else in the audience or on Zoom? Okay, first of all, I really want to take the opportunity to thank everybody who came in person. We did feel this was so important that it necessitated a mailing. I know I've personally received a lot of calls, emails, and just when I'm around, people talking to me about this, even though they haven't been here. And I assume the other council members have also. We're not going to discuss, we can't discuss just because we don't have a quorum what those were necessarily right now, but we will have a robust discussion at our next council meeting. So I really appreciate everybody coming. Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn? I don't think we have to adjourn even. Yeah, we don't need to adjourn.
No, it's because this is.
So thank you for coming.